Welcome to Discovering Spain, Wildlife, Culture, and Travel Insights. I'm Mike, and with me today is Sarah.
Hi, everyone.
We're going on a deep dive, into a town that I think captures the essence of Andalusia, Jimena de la Frontera.
Yeah.
When I hear that name, Sarah, I just picture, ancient castles and rolling hills, maybe a few flamenco guitars. Am I on the right track?
You are on the right track. Jimena de la Frontera sits right beneath a 13th century Moorish castle and is surrounded by the breathtaking Los Alcornocales Natural Park. It's not just scenery, though.
Right.
This town has a story to tell. It actually houses one of Andalusia's oldest industrial mills.
An industrial mill. That's not what I was expecting to hear when you say, 13th century Moorish castle, flamenco guitars.
Right.
So we've got this blend of history, industry, and nature all in one place.
Exactly. And it's all beautifully intertwined. Jimena de la Frontera is nestled on the slopes of San Cristobal Hill, right in the Campo de Gibraltar region, about a 2-hour drive inland from Cadiz.
Okay, so we're picturing hillside town, dramatic castle perched on top. What else should we know about the lay of the land?
Well, imagine the Bay of Algeciras to the south, opening up to the Mediterranean, and the rugged Serrania de Ronda Mountains rising up to the north. Then you've got 3 rivers, the Hozgarganta, the Guaranc, and the Guardano crisscrossing the landscape.
Wow.
This unique geography has shaped Jimena de la Frontera in some pretty incredible ways.
3 rivers. That's impressive. But I'm especially intrigued by the Hozgarganta River. You mentioned its ecological importance.
Yeah.
What makes it so special?
The Hozgarganta River might not be the biggest or the most well-known, but it plays a crucial role in the local ecosystem. It carves its way through lush gallery forests, filled with alders and gall oaks. It's so rich in biodiversity that scientists are actually still discovering new invertebrate species in its basin.
Wow.
Imagine that new species being discovered right now.
New species, it's incredible. I knew Spain was biodiverse, but that's a whole other level. But this river isn't just about pristine nature, is it? You mentioned agriculture.
You're right, it's not just a pristine wilderness. The Hozgarganta also plays a vital role in supporting the local agriculture.
Okay.
Its waters nourish the surrounding farmland,
Right.
enriching the soil and creating this beautiful harmony between nature and human activity.
I like that. A river that brings life in so many ways. Okay. I can't put it off any longer. We need to talk about that castle. I am a sucker for a good castle story. What's the history behind the castle of Jimena?
Get ready, because this one is truly impressive. Imagine a sandstone promontory overlooking the town and the river below. Perched on top is this imposing structure, the Castle of Jimena. It was built by the Moors in the 13th century. But what's fascinating is that it actually sits on the remains of an even older Roman settlement.
Really?
Talk about layers of history.
Wow, so we're talking Roman ruins beneath a Moorish castle. That's
Yeah.
quite the combination. And I bet its strategic location made it a pretty important place.
Absolutely. This castle stood on the border of what was then the Nasrid kingdom, the last Muslim kingdom in Spain. Control of this area was constantly shifting, so the castle was right in the thick of things.
The Nasrid Kingdom. That's ringing a bell from my history classes. But I need a little refresher. When exactly are we talking about, and just how contested was this area?
We're going back to the 13th century. In 1246, the Treaty of Jaen established a 600-kilometer border between Christian and Muslim territories, essentially dividing Spain. The castle of Jimena was right on that border, and for the next 235 years, control of the castle and the surrounding territory was hotly contested.
600 kilometers. That's a huge border. No wonder there was so much back and forth. I imagine the castle witnessed its fair share of battles and sieges over those years.
You can bet it did. And here's a fact that might surprise you. While that border existed for 235 years, Jimena's castle was only under Christian control for 49 of those years.
Wow.
For the majority of that time, it remained a stronghold of the Nasrid kingdom.
So even after the treaty, the power dynamics continued to shift for centuries. That's some serious historical drama playing out right there in Jimena. But this history goes back even further, right? You mentioned prehistoric settlement.
Oh, absolutely. We're talking evidence of human presence going all the way back to prehistoric times. There are even Bronze Age rock paintings in the area, testament to how long people have been drawn to this place.
Bronze Age rock paintings,
Yeah.
that's incredible. I'm picturing those ancient artists capturing their world on those cave walls. Really puts the scale of this town's history into perspective. But all these different groups, Romans, Moors, and those who came before, it must have been a real crossroads of cultures.
You hit the nail on the head. Because of its strategic location near the Strait of Gibraltar, Jimena de la Frontera was highly sought after. Over the centuries, it was occupied by Phoenicians, Romans, Visigoths, Byzantines, and Muslims, each leaving their own mark on the town.
Wow, that's quite the historical lineup.
Yeah.
So much history layered into one place. It's making me want to pack my bags and experience it for myself.
I think you'll be amazed by what you find, Mike. Jimena de la Frontera is truly a journey through time.
I can't wait to hear more about it. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's talk about the practicalities. If I were to visit Jimena de la Frontera, where could I stay? What kind of accommodations does this town offer?
Well, you're in luck, Mike. Jimena de la Frontera offers a good range of options to suit different tastes. If you're looking for something elegant and steeped in history, I'd recommend the Hotel Casa Henrietta. It's a beautifully renovated historic building right in the heart of town. They even have a rooftop terrace with stunning views of the castle.
A rooftop terrace overlooking that castle. That sounds like the perfect place to soak up the atmosphere. But what if I'm in the mood for something a little cozier, a little more intimate?
Then you might enjoy Casa Rural Los Sentidos Jimena. It's a charming rural house that offers a more relaxed vibe. They even have wellness packages if you're feeling like some pampering.
Elegance and history at Casa Henrietta. Relaxation and wellness at Los Sentidos.
Okay, both sound fantastic, but are there any other options worth considering? Of course. If you need a spacious place with great city views, Casa Dolores is another popular choice.
Okay.
It's known for its comfortable accommodations and great communication with guests.
So whether I'm looking for luxury, a cozy retreat, or just a comfortable place to lay my head, Jimena de la Frontera has got me covered. But you know what comes after finding a place to stay?
Yes.
Food. And I have a feeling this region has some serious culinary delights in store for us. What can we expect from the gastronomy of Jimena de la Frontera?
Get ready for a true feast for the senses, Mike. The cuisine here is deeply rooted in the land and its history. Think hearty, flavorful dishes made with locally sourced ingredients. You'll find a strong Arab influence and a real emphasis on freshness and tradition.
Okay, you've got my attention. Give me some specifics. What are the dishes I absolutely cannot miss?
Well, the dish that really puts Jimena de la Frontera on the culinary map is their famous guiso de pata. It's a rich, slow-cooked pork trotter stew that's considered the town's signature dish. Trust me, it's a melt-in-your-mouth experience.
Guiso de pata, you had me at slow cooked. It's going straight to the top of my must-try list. What else should I be on the lookout for?
This region is known for its incredible stews, so don't miss out on the lamb and goat stews. Seasoned with local herbs and spices, they're incredibly tender and flavorful.
I can already picture myself enjoying a bowl of that stew on a chilly evening. Any other local specialties that you'd recommend?
Since Jimena is so close to Los Alcornocales Natural Park, you'll find lots of game meat on the menus. Venison stew, hunter-style rabbit, and partridge. These are hearty, flavorful dishes that really connect you to the surrounding landscape.
Okay, I'm taking notes. Venison, rabbit, partridge. It all sounds fantastic. And what about something to wash it all down with? Any local drinks I should try?
You can't forget about the oranges. San Martin del Tesorillo, one of the settlements within the Jimena municipality, is known for its citrus groves. You'll find fresh, juicy oranges everywhere, the perfect burst of sunshine to complement all those rich stews.
Oranges. Perfect. It's a refreshing contrast to all that hearty fare. I'm already planning my culinary itinerary. But before I book my flight, tell me, what's the vibe of the town itself? What kind of cultural experiences can I expect?
Jimena de la Frontera has a lively cultural scene that really showcases the warmth and hospitality of the Andalusian people. They love to celebrate, and you'll find a diverse calendar of festivals and events throughout the year.
Oh, I do love a good fiesta. What are some of the must-attend events in Jimena de la Frontera?
Well, if you happen to be visiting in March, you can't miss the carnival celebrations. It's a time for music, dancing, costumes, and pure revelry.
Carnival sounds lively. But what about something a bit more traditional, something that really reflects the town's roots?
Then you'll love the May Fair. It's a traditional agricultural and livestock fair that's been part of Jimena de la Frontera's identity for centuries. It's a real glimpse into rural Andalusian life, with a cattle market, local crafts, plenty of food, and of course, music.
Okay, that's going on the list. Carnival for the party animal in me, Mayfair for the culture enthusiast, anything for the music lovers out there.
Jimena de la Frontera actually hosts one of the most prestigious music festivals in Andalusia, the International Music Festival. It takes place in July and features performances in some truly unique settings, like historic buildings and even out in nature.
Wow, an international music festival. That's pretty impressive. So we've got Carnival, the Mayfair, and a renowned music festival. And I'm guessing there are even more festivals sprinkled throughout the year.
Oh, absolutely. There's the August Fair, a more modern celebration that's been running since 1842. And then you have the Novena in Estación de Jimena in September, a religious festival with processions and traditional rituals. Plus, there's the Real Fair in San Pablo de Bucete, the Corpus Fair in San Martín del Tesorillo, and even an orange agricultural fair celebrating the region's citrus industry.
It seems like there's a festival for every month of the year. Talk about a town that knows how to celebrate. But before I start packing my bags for every single festival, what's the weather like? I need to know what to pack.
You're in luck because Jimena de la Frontera enjoys a mild Mediterranean oceanic climate. That means warm summers, mild winters, and minimal variation between seasons.
Sounds perfect. But Spain is known for its sunshine. So how much rain can I expect?
While summers are generally dry and sunny, you will experience more rainfall in the autumn, winter, and spring. But here's a unique detail. Jimena often experiences morning fogs in the summer. These fogs create a humid microclimate that's almost subtropical. It's quite fascinating.
Morning thaws in summer. That's definitely not what I was expecting. So should I pack a raincoat or a swimsuit?
I'd recommend packing both, just to be prepared for anything.
Good advice. This has been fascinating so far. I'm already feeling the Andalusian sunshine and those delicious smells wafting from the kitchens. But there's so much more to uncover about Jimena de la Frontera. What other secrets does this town hold?
There's so much more to discover. In the next part of our deep dive, we'll delve deeper into the town's unique traditions and uncover some fascinating details that make Jimena de la Frontera truly special. Stay tuned.
I can't wait to hear more. See you in part 2.
Welcome back to Discovering Spain, Wildlife, Culture, and Travel Insights. We're continuing our deep dive into Jimena de la Frontera, a town that seems to have it all: history, nature, and incredible food.
You know, as we were talking about those festivals in the last segment, I was struck by just how much this town embraces its traditions.
Right.
It's like they found this perfect balance between preserving their heritage and moving into the future.
It's true, and one of the ways this is really evident is in their unique culinary traditions. We've already talked about those mouth-watering stews and fresh oranges, but there's another aspect of Jimena's food culture that might surprise you.
Okay, you've got me intrigued. What's this culinary surprise?
Mushrooms. Jimena de la Frontera and the surrounding area are actually known for their abundance of wild mushrooms and fungi. They even have a local association, the Chantarella Mycological Group, that's dedicated to studying and appreciating these woodland treasures.
A mycological group. That's pretty cool. So we're talking serious mushroom enthusiasts here.
Absolutely. And they're not just studying them for scientific purposes, they're incorporating them into the local cuisine in some really creative ways. You'll find all sorts of mushroom-centric dishes popping up on menus throughout town.
I have to admit, I'm not the biggest mushroom fan, but you've piqued my curiosity. What kind of mushroom dishes should I be on the lookout for in Jimena de la Frontera?
Well, if you want a taste of the classic preparation, try the bolitas al ajillo. It's a simple dish, just bolitas mushrooms sautéed with garlic, but it's incredibly flavorful. You can really taste the earthy essence of the mushrooms.
Bolitas al ajillo. Okay, I'm willing to give it a try. Any recommendations on where to find the best version of this dish?
If you're looking for an authentic experience, head to Restaurante Bar Cuenca on Avenida Los Deportes. It's a local favorite known for its traditional Andalusian cuisine and its use of fresh seasonal ingredients.
Restaurante Bar Cuenca. Got it. I'm adding it to my list. But you know, it's not just about the food for me. I want to soak up the atmosphere, experience the heart of the town. What's it like to just wander the streets of Jimena de la Frontera?
Picture this. Narrow, cobblestone streets winding through the town, whitewashed houses adorned with colorful flower pots. There's a sense of tranquility here, a slower pace of life that's really inviting.
It sounds so peaceful, a world away from the hustle and bustle. But I imagine there's a vibrancy too, a sense of community that comes with a town so steeped in tradition.
You're right, it's not just peaceful. There's a real energy here, too. You'll see locals gathering in the plazas, chatting, laughing, sharing stories. It's a place where time seems to move at its own rhythm.
I love that sense of connection and belonging. It sounds like the kind of place where you can really immerse yourself in the local culture.
Exactly. And speaking of immersing yourself in the local culture, remember when we talked about the Hozgarganta River powering one of the oldest industrial mills in Andalusia?
Yes, I was really intrigued by that. What kind of mill was it?
It was a fulling mill used for processing wool. They would use the river's power to thicken and strengthen the wool, making it more durable. And here's the amazing part. There's evidence that this mill was already in operation back in Roman times.
Wow, Roman times. That means this town has a history of industry and innovation that goes back centuries. I tend to associate these small towns with a slower, more agricultural way of life. But it sounds like Jimena de la Frontera was a hub of activity.
You're right, it's not just about quaint streets and picturesque landscapes. This town has a rich industrial heritage. In addition to the fulling mill, there were also numerous flour mills powered by the river, some of which are still standing today.
Flour mills, fulling mills. The Hozgarganta River really was the heart of this town's industry. I could just imagine the sounds and smells of those mills in their prime.
It must have been quite a scene. And it's a testament to the ingenuity and resourcefulness of the people who lived here centuries ago. They really knew how to harness the power of nature to create a thriving community.
It's a reminder that history isn't just about battles and conquests. It's also about everyday life. It's about the people who lived, worked, and innovated, leaving their mark on the world.
Well said. And these mills are a physical reminder of that. They're not just ruins, they're stories waiting to be told.
I love that. It's like each piece of machinery has a story to tell, a glimpse into the past. And it makes me think about the people who lived here, the lives they led, the challenges they faced. It's fascinating to think about how their lives were shaped by this unique environment.
You're right, and that's what makes exploring a place like Jimena de la Frontera so rewarding. It's not just about the beautiful scenery, it's about connecting with the past, understanding the forces that shaped this town, and appreciating the resilience of the people who called it home.
It's definitely a place that encourages you to slow down, to really absorb the history and the stories. You know, I'm starting to see why you were so excited to share Jimena de la Frontera with our listeners. It's not just a pretty town. It's a place with depth, with layers of history, with a spirit that's both ancient and vibrant.
I'm glad you're feeling that connection. And that's what we hope to do with this podcast. We want to go beyond the typical travel guides, beyond the surface level, and really dig into the heart of what makes Spain so special.
Well, you've definitely succeeded with this deep dive into Jimena de la Frontera. I'm already feeling inspired to book a trip and experience it for myself.
I think you'll be enchanted by what you find. But before you start packing your bags, we still have more to share about this captivating town. In the final part of our deep dive, we'll wrap up our exploration of Jimena de la Frontera with some practical tips for planning your visit and some final thoughts to inspire your own Andalusian adventure.
Can't wait. See you in part 3. Welcome back to Discovering Spain, Wildlife, Culture, and Travel Insights. We've spent the last 2 segments exploring Jimena de la Frontera, and honestly, I'm ready to book my flight.
I knew you would. There's just something about this town.
Yeah.
It's not just a place you visit, it's a place you experience.
You're right. And for those of our listeners who are feeling the same way, let's get down to the practicalities. If someone is planning a trip to Jimena de la Frontera, what are your top tips? What should they keep in mind?
Well, first and foremost, don't rush it. Jimena de la Frontera is a town that unfolds slowly. Give yourself a few days to really soak it all in. Explore the castle, wander along the riverbanks, get lost in those narrow streets, and savor the local cuisine. You won't regret it.
Slow down, savor the moment. That's great advice for any traveler, especially in a place as rich and layered as Jimena. Anything else visitors should keep in mind?
Definitely pack comfortable shoes.
Oh, yeah.
You'll be doing a lot of walking, navigating cobblestone streets, and exploring those hilly areas. Trust me, your feet will thank you.
Noted. Comfortable shoes are a must for any good adventure. Speaking of adventure, how easy is it to actually get to Jimena de la Frontera?
Getting there is easier than you might think.
Okay.
If you're flying into Malaga Airport, you can hop on the A7 motorway towards Algeciras, exit at Castellar de la Frontera, and then follow the A405 to Jimena. It's a scenic drive that gives you a taste of the beautiful Andalusian countryside.
Sounds like the perfect road trip. But what about those of us who prefer to travel by train?
You're in luck.
Good.
Jimena is well connected by train. It sits on the Algeciras-Granada line. The station's actually located in Los Angeles, which is just a short taxi ride from Jimena de la Frontera.
So whether you're a road tripper or a train enthusiast, getting to Jimena is pretty straightforward. Before we wrap up, any final thoughts for our listeners? What makes Jimena de la Frontera truly stand out for you?
You know, as we've been discussing this town, what strikes me is how it manages to stay true to itself. It's a place where the past feels very present, but there's also a sense of vitality of life being lived to the fullest.
I think that's what makes it so captivating. It's a place where you can feel the weight of history, but also the warmth of the people, the joy of the festivals, the simple pleasures of life.
You put it beautifully. Jimena de la Frontera is a reminder that travel is about more than just ticking off destinations. It's about immersing yourself in a place, connecting with its people, and experiencing the world in a new and meaningful way.
Couldn't agree more. And for those of our listeners who are feeling inspired to plan their own Andalusian adventure, I highly recommend checking out the work of Clive Muir. He's the author behind a lot of the incredible information we've shared with you today, and his passion for Spain really shines through.
Yes, Clive is a fantastic resource for anyone interested in exploring this region.
You can find more of his insights on Spain, its wildlife, culture, and travel on his websites. Ronda Today, Visit Cadiz, the Caminito del Rey, and Wildside Holidays, Spain.
Well worth exploring.
On that note, we'll bid farewell to the captivating town of Jimena de la Frontera, but our journey through Spain continues. Stay tuned for more deep dives into the heart of this incredible country. Until next time, happy travels, everyone.